not a cheap process at all. Welcome back to Sitting Outside. My name is Vanessa, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So today I wanted to jump right back on and upload a video about my process with being licensed as a master's level social worker. And so today's video will be about the process and how much it costs. So last upload, I kind of went through the process on, the time frame on me studying for the exam and how that looked for me in my process. So this time I just want to go over the cost of the exam, because I mentioned in the last video that is not a cheap process at all. And so, with everything that's going on with me and, not working and things, it really put in perspective, like, how much we really put towards being licensed and being a professional in the social work field, as well as other professions, as well. So I just want to jump right in and start with registration. So I mentioned in my last video that I had to register with ASWB before I could take the exam. So they have like this pre-approval process. So you have to go on their website and you have to go do an application to be approved to take the exam. And so that application was $60. So I paid $60, and then you also have to send over your transcripts from whichever university that you attended. My university, which was the University of Central Florida, it costs $15 to send it over via mail. So that was additional $15. The next step that you have to do is you have to pay for the exam. So initially I thought really the biggest bill would be just paying for the exam, and I was wrong. Yeah, so you have to pay $230 for the master's level exam, and you don't have to pay it right away after you register. So when you register, you get pre-approved and they give you the okay to schedule. I waited for about 6 months. Ashamed to even say that, but I waited like 6 months before I actually paid for the exam. And so you don't have to do it right away, but you have, I think they give you at least a year once you're approved to schedule that exam. Well, I paid for my exam, which was $230, and then they sent over a link to my email after that payment was submitted, and they gave me basically approval to schedule. So once they send you that link, you can schedule for whatever date that you would like. And I scheduled, I think it was 3 months later. So I waited 6 months to pay for it. And then I waited an additional 3 months. I scheduled the exam 3 months out. So that was that. Then have to start to prepare if you haven't done so already. So the things that I needed prior to taking the exam is, of course, the study material. So luckily, I didn't have to pay for everything because I had a friend who provided me with the book that I mentioned in my last video. So I didn't have to pay for my books, but I did calculate that into this cost. So I estimated roughly you'll need about, if you purchase everything that I mentioned in my last video, you can pay up to about $200. And that's for the book, which comes with like a practice test. And there was another book that I also mentioned that you don't have to get, and to be honest, it's not as much of a cost than the bigger book that I suggested. And then of course you buy like the little stuff. I had the DSM overview on there as well, which was only $7.99. So, but yeah, calculating all of that, it estimated to be about $200. So that's additional to the exam. And so also too, I did a practice exam, which was $85. Okay, another cost. And then I also mentioned Philip Luttrell on my last video, and his YouTube provides free content or, free information, but Since then, because you'll notice that his videos are like from 2 years ago or maybe even a year ago. And so, but now he provides a more structure. So he provides study sessions, 1-day sessions, private tutoring. So he provides additional service outside of his YouTube. And so that was one of the services that I was considering. And so that's an additional cost. And so I won't mention the cost for his services because it may change, and it may have changed since I last looked into it. So yeah, check him out. But just to notate that there is a cost for the study session, and if you want any tutoring from him, so there's more money. And this video by all means is not to kind of discourage you from the process, but it's just to kind of shed light that this is not a cheap process, and that financially you want to prepare yourself, but don't be discouraged. But just know, like, if you're working, awesome, that would be awesome. If you're graduating and you receive funds or like graduation gifts, try to use some of that money to put towards your licensure process. That's just a suggestion for me, because I had to spend or use my money to move to Texas. So I used my graduation gifts for something else. But it was still worth it. It was worth it. Okay, so jumping back in, I also want to mention, after you take the exam, I thought that all of the costs was done. Like, I thought I had paid everything that I needed to pay. Honestly, I thought they would mail me my license right after that, because the process had changed since 2020. So I just didn't know how it would look. So after I took the exam, I had then needed to apply to the state of Texas. And so the application to apply for your LMSW is 109. And so at the time I wasn't working. So I'm like, I need to work in order to pay for the application in order for me to move forward in my field. So it was kind of stressful, because I'm like, I don't have the 109 right now. And that's because I had other things to worry about, or that was, higher on the priority list than paying for the application. But I was blessed, and I was able to pay for my application. It was I only waited so you can do the application without paying for it, but they won't process it until you pay for the application. So it was only maybe a week or two later, I paid for my application, and then it was officially submitted. And so with your application, there are 4 steps that I had to do, that in order for them to complete the process. And so one of the things that I had to do, which was an additional cost, was I had to do fingerprints. And so my fingerprint cost was $38, $39. So I just rounded over, it's $40. So needed my transcripts sent over to the state. And I was thinking, I've already done this, but so I sent it over. There's this other step that you have to do. It's like a self-query report, and I'll have it in the description exactly what it is. But that was only $3, and I think it's $6 if you needed additional reports sent somewhere else. So I only paid $3 for that, thank God. And last but not least was the Jurisprudence Exam. And so that exam was $39. And it's an open book exam, so it's pretty easy and straightforward. So, but you have to pay, and you have to do it in order to get your license. So I completed those 4 steps, and I called the state after that, maybe a week, because I just could not find definitely if I had done everything. And so I spoke with someone, and he said that everything was submitted, and I just have to wait until they mail my license to me, or give me my numbers for my license. I also want to update you all that I have accepted an offer for a new position. And so, which is awesome. In this particular position, it asks for me to be licensed as a social worker, a master's level social worker. So that's awesome. but the only downside is that I don't have my numbers yet. So the state said it'll take about 6 to 7 weeks before they can provide me that. And so it's like a waiting game right now. So I'm waiting until they send over my license number, and then I'll be able to provide it to my new job, and then I'll be able to start. So, but at least I do have that offer, and luckily for me, thank God, they're willing to wait for me to get those numbers. And so they've even offered for me to start in another role and then transfer over into that particular role that requires my license. So it's awesome. So it's good news. I'm off to a great start. But like I said, I just wanted to jump right back in and kind of give you all an idea of how much it costs for you to get your license in the state of Texas. So just sharing my process and giving you a little bit of insight of where I am right now. So hopefully next time I update, I will be a licensed master's level social worker here in the state of Texas, and I will have my numbers, and I'll be started my new job by then. And so I'm hopeful for this year. So thank you for tuning in. And like I said, I just wanted to jump on here and share my process on how to become a licensed master level social worker in the state of Texas. So I hope this video was helpful. Please subscribe, hit the notification if you want to know when I upload my new videos. And also you can share your experience too in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. All right, until next time, take care. Bye.